Hello everyone, welcome back to online lecture series on heat transfer. We are continuing our topic of hydrodynamic and thermal boundary layer. So let's begin. So today will be our last lecture of this topic. We will do a quick revision of our previous topics first. So in our last lecture we studied about Blasius solution for laminar boundary layer flow. So here there are two main equations. First is continuity equation and second is x momentum equation. We are going to convert this into a full single differential equation. So for that purpose we are defining two factors. First is stretching factor, in which this is our stretching factor, eta is equal to y square root of u infinity upon nu x, and second is stream function, which is given by u is equal to del psi upon del y and v is equal to minus del psi upon del x. And then with mathematical formulations we can obtain the value of psi, that is stream function. So psi, that is stream function, is having unit of meter square per second. Then we did this some basic differential formulations to obtain the value of u and v one by one. So this is the value of u and this is the value of v. After that we obtained del u upon del x. Similarly we obtained del u upon del y. Next was del u into del u upon del x and v into del u upon del y. The last formula that we obtained was del 2u upon del y square. So we combined them all together and we applied it into x momentum equation, and based on that we obtained this ordinary non-linear differential equation, that is given by 2 into f triple prime into f plus f into f double prime equal to 0. So for that differential equation these are the solutions which are given, and this is the corresponding curves. And then we obtained the value of delta upon x, that is providing the value of hydrodynamic boundary layer. The local skin friction coefficient was obtained in this way. So this is the value of del u upon del y at y equal to 0, and this is the value of Cfx. And here we obtained the value of average skin friction coefficient Cf bar, which is 1.328 square root of 1 by Rex. So that was all about the Blasius solution. Now we are moving forward with our today's topic, that is von Karman integral momentum equation. So let's begin. So as we have experienced in our last two lectures, the Blasius solution approach is cumbersome and difficult to obtain. Moreover, there are many practical situations with the flow or geometry of more complicated nature where the stretching factor is either unknown or does not exist. So this is one of the disadvantage of Blasius solution, where this flow or geometry of more complicated nature where the stretching factor is either unknown or does not exist. So it is difficult to obtain this value. Additionally, we are not really interested in details of velocity profile in boundary layer beyond knowing the slope at the wall. So we don't actually require the velocity profile at the boundary layer, but because if we know slope, then we can get many details out of that, because this slope helps to determine the value of shear stress at the wall, which is given by this formula. As you can see, this del u upon del y will be our slope. For such cases, we employ von Karman integral approach, which involves the application of Newton's second law to a finite control volume as opposed to infinitesimal element of Blasius. So if you recall, in case of Blasius solution, we were utilizing the infinitesimal element. Now what we are going to do in case of von Karman integral approach, that we are going to use finite control volume and apply Newton's second law of motion. The boundary layer equations are integrated from the wall, that is at y equal to 0, that is flat plate, to the boundary layer thickness y is equal to delta. So we are going to do this. The resulting ordinary differential equation gives fairly accurate explicit equation for wall shear stress. So this is the integral approach figure that we are going to see first in detail. So here if you see, we are going to zoom this later on. This is our thin flat plate, and this is our limit of boundary layer that we have seen, and this is our velocity profile. Now you should be able to observe that here this is our flat plate, thin flat plate, and this curve is actually the limit of boundary layer. This curve here, this curve which you are observing is actually a velocity profile. So at the very close to this flat plate, the velocity is almost 0, and as we move away from this flat plate, the velocity keeps on increasing, and once we cross this boundary layer, the velocity will be equal to the free stream velocity. So what we have done, that we have taken a control volume over here, that is A prime, B prime, B and A, and it is having a length of dx in x direction. Let us consider this to be a 0 point, so it is at the distance of x, and this is the height. So the vertical dimension of this control volume is capital H, that you can see over here, and the horizontal dimension of this control volume is dx. We will discuss these integrals later on, and this will be, that is A prime, B prime, B and A will be our domain of interest. And we are going to take this small strip for our analysis purpose. As you can see, there are two different heights. First is this capital H and second is this delta. So capital H is the total height of this control volume, while delta is the height up to which this delta is the height up to which we are observing the viscous effects. Okay, so we will discuss this three integrals later on. Select a flat plate whose surface is parallel to the direction of free stream velocity. Consider a differential element of boundary layer located at distance x and x plus delta x from the leading edge. So we are focusing here. The control volume, this control volume is infinitesimal in x direction, but it is finite in y direction. So what we are trying to say here, that this dimension dx is infinitesimal or very small. However, the dimension of this control volume, that is capital H is finite, so it is comparatively much larger than this dx. So that is the unique thing about this control volume. The control volume here is sufficiently high and it encloses edge of boundary layer, so capital H is always and much greater than delta. So this will be sufficiently high. For unit width of the plate, the flow rate which is entering through the face A prime is, so now what we are discussing right now is this face. Okay, so here the mass value is rho into u into dy. Why? Because if you recall our standard formula, m is equal to rho v into a, where rho is as it is density. Instead of velocity we are having u, and instead of area here, instead of area, which is equal to dy into 1. So let me erase this portion. So I hope you have understood this formula. Now, and the flow rate which is leaving the face B prime B, that is over here. Now we are discussing about the second phase which is on the right hand side. That is over here. So for that, the formula is like this. That is our standard incremental formula. That is m plus del m over del x into dx. So finally we are getting this. That is application of this m formula here. Now here the important thing is no mass can enter the CV through its solid wall AB. So as it is quite obvious here that as this is a directly a flat plate, no mass can enter through this dark red face. So the continuity requirement then stipulates that the mass increment, that is this portion. So if you see, the only incremental which is happening is this portion. This is the incremental part. So this is the mass increment which is happening. So this must represent, this integral must represent the mass flow that enters the CV through plane A prime B prime. So that should be entering through here along with the flow velocity, free stream velocity u infinitive. So here the corresponding x momentum flux are given by influx through left face A prime. So what I would suggest you here, that you should pause this video right now and you should draw this figure in your notebook. That will be helpful for our remaining derivation of this theory. So you can pause this video right now and you should draw this. So I hope that you have already drawn this right now, and we will begin with our further derivation. So the influx through the left face A prime is given by this formula, and efflux through right face B prime is given by this formula. That is quite obvious because we are considering x momentums. That's why we are multiplying the mass flow rate with the x component of the velocity, that is small u. And the influx through the upper face that I was telling you over here, this arrow, that is this part. So here also mass influx is happening, which is given by this formula, that is u infinitive del over del x, this portion u infinitive del over del x integral 0 to h rho u dy into dx. So now, in the absence of any pressure or gravity forces, the drag force or shear force, that is tau w dx. So this is what is actually, if you see, this is tau x into dx cross 1. At the plate surface here, must be balanced by net momentum change for the control volume. So we can say that tau into dx is equal to this portion, that is the influx through upper face, as you can see over here, minus this difference between influx and efflux, that is this. Okay, so the difference between these two, the remaining two integrals will get eliminated. So finally what we are getting over here is, see what we have done. If you see carefully, previously we were having h, and now we are having delta. That is, we have changed the integral portion. Why? Because the upper limit of integration has been replaced by delta, because the integrand is 0 for y greater than delta. So the above delta, these two integrals will be 0. So finally what we are getting is this. So once you rearrange the terms, you will be obtaining this formula, that is tau w is equal to del over del x integral rho into u infinitive minus u into u dy. And finally we are obtaining this relationship. So what we have done over here, see, if we write down the same formula over here, then tau is equal to rho into del over del x integral u infinitive minus u into u dy. So now what we are doing, that we have taken u infinitive square outside, that is, we have forcefully adjusted this u infinitive square outside, such that here what we are getting is del over del x into, we have kept one u upon infinitive one u infinitive outside, and we have utilized another u infinitive over here. So this is the same formula that we are getting. So these are the simplifications that you should go through, and this is our von Karman momentum integral equation for hydrodynamic boundary layer. So this is very important formula. This will be important formula. So now here experiments have shown that for laminar boundary layer, the velocity distribution is parabolic, and the velocity profile at different locations along the plate are geometrically similar. This we have seen during our explanation of hydrodynamic boundary layer in the figure. So this means that the dimensionless velocity u upon u infinitive can be expressed at any location x as a function of dimensionless distance from the wall y upon delta. Similar kind of stuff we have done for Blasius solution also. So in this case we are going to accept this, that is, u upon u infinitive can be written as a function of y upon delta with this formula, where a, b, c, d are unknown. Now these constants these constants a, b, c and d are evaluated subjected to the following boundary conditions. First is at the wall surface y is equal to 0, we will be getting u is equal to u infinity and del 2u upon del y square equal to 0. And second boundary condition is at the outer edge of the boundary layer, that is at y equal to delta, we will be getting this formula, this condition, that is u is equal to u infinity and du upon dy equal to 0. There is a printing mistake here. This should be 0 because at wall surface the velocity is 0. That is quite obvious. So you should correct this in your notebook also, in your book also. Now with application of boundary conditions, the following results are obtained, that is a is equal to 0, b is equal to 3 by 2, c is equal to 0 and d is equal to minus 1 by 2. So we are not going into detail of this. We will simply accept this results due to limitation of time. Now this gives us velocity profile like this, that is u upon u infinity is equal to 3 by 2 y by delta minus half y upon delta cube. So that gives velocity profile. So simply I have repeated this formula again, and based on that now we are in position to obtain the value of shear stress. So combining these two equations we can obtain this value. So what we are going to do here, that here as you can see in the formula of shear stress, we are obtaining u upon u infinitive. Here we are having two terms, u upon u infinitive. So what we can do here, that instead of this u upon u infinitive we can obtain this value. Okay. So once we complete this integration part, again I am not going into detail of this mathematics. You should obtain this by yourself. That is, the final value of this wall shear stress is 39 upon 280 rho u infinitive square del delta upon del x. So now at the solid surface, the Newton's law of viscosity is given by this standard formula, as we are all aware, and here we have applied, instead of del u upon del y, this velocity profile that we have obtained previously. That is, you can directly see the correlation over here. Okay. So now after further simplification you will be able to obtain this value. So again I have directly written the result. So you should obtain this by yourself. So tau w is equal to 3 by 2 mu into u infinitive square upon delta. And combining these two equations of shear stress, that is what we are going to combine here, we are going to combine this and this. So we are going to equate them together and we will be obtain this formula. That's the same formula is written again, and we can, once we integrate this, the final equation will be like this, that is delta square by 2 is equal to 140 by 13 mu x upon rho u infinitive. So we can obtain this in non-dimensional form like this. And finally what we are going to get is here the final formula is del upon x is equal to 4.64 into divided by square root of Reynolds number. An estimate of wall shear stress can be made by substituting the value of the boundary layer thickness in the expression of wall shear stress. That is, here what we have done, that instead of this delta we have put the value of the value which we have already obtained. So final equation will be like this. So this is the value of tau w, and the skin friction coefficient is given by this formula. So once we put this value of tau w over here, we will be obtaining this. That is, the skin friction coefficient is given by 0.646 square root of Rex. Now we are going to calculate the value of average skin friction coefficient. So again, as we have done in case of Blasius solution, we can do the same procedure, and we can obtain the value of skin friction coefficient given by this formula. That is, we are going to apply this 1 upon L square root of 1 upon L integration Cfx dx. So finally what we are going to get is Cf bar is equal to (1.292) divided by square root of REL, where REL is the Reynolds number based on the length L. And the average skin friction coefficient is also called as drag coefficient. And this is the figure for the value or the relation between y upon delta and u upon u infinitive. So it gives the comparison between various kinds of solutions. So here let me show you that currently we are having this formulation is von Karman for integral result. This is von Karman. This is purely linear profile, linear relationship. Okay, so as you can see over here in this figure, here first if we see this linear, so you can see a direct complete line. Then the second the dotted curve which you are observing is von Karman. The third dotted is Blasius, and last solid curve is for this formula where u upon u infinitive is 2 into y upon delta minus y upon delta square. And here this is also one of the important tables for hydrodynamic boundary layer, where various kinds of velocity profiles are given, and these are the relevant boundary conditions, and these are the values which we are getting for delta upon x into Rex and Cfx into Rex. Now our next topic is, so that was the end of von Karman integral. Now our next topic is thermal boundary layer. So this will be the thermal boundary layer during a flow of cold fluid over the warm plate. So if we quickly focus on this, it is very similar to hydrodynamic boundary layer. The only difference is the temperature profile. So this is our limit of thermal boundary layer. The free stream velocity is u infinitive and free stream temperature is T infinitive. Our flat plate is parallel to the direction of flow of free stream. Here we are having an assumption that the fluid is cold and the plate is at higher temperature. So obviously Ts is greater than T infinitive. Second is the next thing that we need to take care here is that this is the region, the overall region below this boundary layer, thermal boundary layer, is the region which is affected by heating. Now as we are very close to this plate surface, the temperature of fluid will be almost equal to the plate temperature, that is T surface, and as we move away the temperature will keep on decreasing, and once we reach this boundary layer the temperature will be equal to free stream temperature. So if you see, let me write down that the things that we are getting here is actually not the absolute temperature but the difference between Ts minus T infinitive. So let us take this to be, let us take the plate temperature to be 50 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Celsius, and the free stream temperature to be 25 degrees Celsius. So what we are going to see, the difference between these two. So the difference between these two will be maximum over here, that is here it will be 50 minus 25, that is 25. But as we keep on moving away from here, the temperature will keep on decreasing. That's why the temperature difference will keep on decreasing between T minus T infinitive, and once we reach here the temperature will be equal to T infinitive. That's why at this location the temperature difference will be 0. So actually this entire temperature profile is the difference between a given temperature minus the free stream temperature. So the whole curve is all about T minus T infinitive, and it will be 0 over here. Why? Because here we are getting the free stream temperature. And as you can see, as we keep on moving away, the thermal boundary layer thickness keeps on increasing, because here it is transiting from laminar to turbulent. When a fluid flows past a heated or cold surface, a temperature field is set up in the fluid next to the surface. If the plate surface is hotter than the fluid, that is in our case, the temperature distribution will be seen as indicated in the figure. Usually this temperature field that we are seeing encompasses a very small region of fluid. The region of fluid being heated by the plate is confined to a thin layer near the surface. This zone or thin layer wherein the temperature field exists or temperature gradient exists is known as thermal boundary layer. The temperature gradient results due to the heat exchange between the plate and the fluid. Okay. So here the criteria for defining the thickness delta T, The thickness delta T of thermal boundary layer is arbitrarily defined as the distance y from the plate surface at which we are getting this. That is Ts minus T upon Ts minus T infinitive is equal to 0.99. That is, as you can see over here, the similar kind of curve we have seen in our previous figure. That here, let us say that this is the temperature. Now, in our previous case, if you see, in previous case, here the plate was hot and the fluid was cooled. Now we are seeing a reverse thing over here, that the plate is cold and the fluid is hot. So exactly a reverse kind of curve we are observing here, that T infinitive is more than the Ts and the remaining are the given temperature T. And what we have done, that we have shifted this curve by an amount of Ts. This is done by subtracting the value of Ts from the given temperature T. So once we subtract this, we are getting this remaining portion, which you can exactly see at the bottom figure. So this is our curve that we are getting, and the convection of energy reduces the outward conduction in the fluid, and consequently the temperature gradient reduces away from the surface. Further, the temperature gradient is infinite at the leading edge of the plate and approaches to zero as the layer develops downstream. If the approaching free stream temperature T infinitive is above the plate surface temperature Ts, the boundary layer will be shown with the shape as we have already discussed these two figures. The temperature of fluid changes from minimum at the plate surface, that is over here at point A, to a temperature of mainstream at certain distance from the surface. At a point A, the temperature of the fluid is same as the surface temperature Ts, that you can see over here also, and the fluid temperature increases gradually until it acquires the free stream temperature T infinitive, that is over here. So this is our T infinitive. Now the distance AB, that is over here, this height. The distance AB, which is measured perpendicular to the plate surface, denotes the thickness of boundary layer at distance x from the leading edge of the plate. And if you recall, the velocity profile of HBL, means hydrodynamic boundary layer, is dependent primarily upon the viscosity of the fluid, because the entire concept of hydrodynamic boundary layer is based on the viscous effects. In thermal boundary layer, that is TBL, the temperature profile depends upon the flow velocity, specific heat, viscosity and thermal conductivity of the fluid. So these are the parameters on which the thermal bound temperature profile will depend in case of thermal boundary layer. So these are the important parameters. Now this is the interesting part that you should remember, the relationship between the thickness of hydrodynamic boundary layer and thermal boundary layer. In case when Prandtl number is unity, then both values will be same. In case Prandtl number is greater than 1, delta T will be less than delta, and when Prandtl number is less than 1, delta T will be greater than delta. So now we will move forward with our next theory, that is energy equation for thermal boundary layer. So first we will focus on this control volume. Here we will quickly see this control volume, which is having dimensions dx and dy, and obviously we are going to assume the unit width. Here the energy which is entering on this face dy is rho u dy into ct, that is mc delta t. If you recall our standard energy equation, mc delta t, and this is the energy efflux which is happening. Similarly, we can have the energy influx and energy efflux in the y direction also. And here this is the heat which is entering from the bottom face based on the Fourier equation, and this is the heat which is leaving from this face at the top. The viscous heat generation is given by this, that is mu into del u by del y square dx into dy. We are going to discuss each and every formula in detail one by one in our derivation portion. So let's begin. For an element of dimensions which is dx, dy and unit depth, in the boundary layer, the quantities of energy entering and leaving have been shown in the figure. So what I would suggest you, that let me zoom this, and you should draw this figure in your notebook. That will be helpful to derive this equation. Okay, so the rate of temperature change in x direction is presumed to be small, and such conduction is only considered in y direction. That is, as you can see, that we are considering this Fourier equation only in y direction because we are assuming that the rate of change in rate of temperature change in x direction is small. Now the convective terms in x and y direction have been written in terms of mass, temperature and specific heat, which is assumed to be constant. So now we are discussing about this. For x direction, we can write down energy influx as Ex1, which is mass into specific heat into temperature. So this is our standard MCT. So now the formula is rho into u into dy, that is for mass, and this is C and T as it is. Energy efflux, that is Ex2. Now if we discuss this portion, so here as we have passed through the distance dx in the control volume, u plus del u by del x into dx is this, and instead of t we can write down t plus del t over del x into dx. So there is one correction here. Neglecting the product of small quantities. Now what is the meaning of this? We are going to neglect few terms. Let us first combine these two, that is, let us multiply these two brackets, then we will be getting u t plus u del t over del x into dx plus t into del u over del x into dx plus del u over del x into del t over del x into dx into dx. So we are going to neglect this term because it is having all derivatives, so the terms will be, the final term will be very negligible. So we are only having these three, and net energy convection is given by this, that is Ex1 minus Ex2. So what we are doing here, that focus on this two, that is Ex1 is this and Ex2 is this. That's why we are getting this final equation. Here this ut term is getting eliminated along with this u and t. Likewise, the net energy convection in y direction is given by this formula. We are not going to discuss this again in detail because it is exactly similar to this way. If we follow the same process for y direction, we will be getting this formula, that is Ey1 minus Ey2, and finally we are getting this. The conductive terms follows the from the Fourier law, and conduction heat rate in y direction is given by this formula. If you have drawn this figure, if you have drawn that previous figure, you will be able to understand this very easily. And as we are moving in y direction, this is the rate of change of temperature that we are considering. Okay, with further simplification we will be getting this value, that is k into d2y upon d2t upon dy square into dx dy. Now we are going to discuss about the viscous effects and their subsequent heat generation value. Viscous force is given by this, that is, this is the viscous stress or shear stress, and this is the area dx into 1. This force will act upon through a distance s, which can be determined by relative velocity of fluid flow at the upper and lower faces of element, that is s is equal to du upon dy into dy. So viscous heat generation is given by this formula, that is the force that we are having multiplied by distance s, which is given by this formula. So finally what we are getting is mu into del u upon del y square into dx dy, with stipulations of that is combining this steady state conduction, algebraic sum of total heat due to convection, conduction and viscous effects will be 0. That we can write down this formula. So if you recall, what we have done over here is, if you see, we have combined this, that is the energy convection in x direction, first term. Second is energy convection in y direction, second this term. then the conduction in y direction, that is this, then the viscous heat generation given by this. So this all four terms are combined together. So this is the final equation that we are getting, and what we have done is we have combined this term and this term. So this is the continuity equation, so this term will get 0. So we are left with only the remaining terms here. That is, if you see, we have taken this rho c here in the denominator of both, and we have taken the remaining thing on the left hand side and the other things on the right hand side. So here the final equation that we are getting is u into del t by del x plus v into del t by del y is equal to k by rho c. If you recall, k by rho c will be our alpha, that is thermal diffusivity, del 2t over del y square plus mu upon rho c del u upon del y whole square. Now this formula represents the differential energy equation for flow past a flat plate. If the heat generation due to viscous forces is neglected, the energy equation takes place. So what we are going to neglect now? We are going to neglect this term, because let us say that heat generation due to viscous effects is not present. So we are only left with the remaining term. So this k by rho c now is replaced with alpha, that is over here. And now this is the end of this theory, that is energy equation for thermal boundary layer, as well as this is the end of convection part 3. So let us quickly go through the topics that we have studied today. Today we started with von Karman integral momentum equation. Here we took a finite control volume and we calculated the mass which was there, incremental mass, and we obtained the value of shear stress. This is the von Karman integral equation. Then we use this relation of u upon u infinity as a function of y upon delta. We obtained the value of ABCD, and this was the final velocity profile that we obtained over here, that is this, and these are the values of tau w, that is the wall shear stress, and we obtained the value of delta upon x, that is given by 4.64 divided by square root of Rex. We obtained the value of CFX, that is skin friction coefficient, as well as its average value. The next was thermal boundary layer, where we have the temperature difference profile. And this is the relation between the hydrodynamic boundary layer thickness and thermal boundary layer thickness. Our last theory of this chapter is energy equation for a thermal boundary layer, in which we calculated the energy convection in x direction, y direction, the conduction in y direction, viscous forces and viscous heat generation, and we combined them to obtain this differential equation, that is our energy equation. So this is end of today's lecture as well as end of this whole chapter. Thank you for watching this video.